Greetings and welcome to From the Basement. In this video, we're going to take a look at doors and how to set them up and use them properly in the Neverwinter editor. Now, before we actually go into the nitty-gritty of the details here of how to set these up, let's take a quick look to see how this map looks in-game. Alright, so let's take a look here. First, we'll take a look at our storyline door, as indicated by our little glowy trail. Now this one is a demonstration of a locked door. We need a key to progress past. Try to use it when I don't have the key. I get the failure message. Come over here to my chest of keys and grab one. And now I can open the door. Progressing on, we're going to see how to put a door that you can't use right away. Now notice this one does not have a glowy trail or a sparkly can use icon on it. Can't use anything. That is until I talk to Mr. Ed over here. Now, wham, I can now open this door. Notice this door opens towards me, the other door opens away from me. Unfortunately, you have no control over the direction of the doors. And now the game does attempt to kind of sort of keep the doors opening in the direction that it thinks the player is going to be going through in, but it's certainly not perfect. And then finally we have just a door. Nothing special on it, just as soon as you get to it, you can open it. Now, in here we have an example of kit bashing. In other words, we're in a crypt, and we're transitioning into a cave. Sometimes this works well, as we'll see with the crypt and the dungeon. Those two work very well together. But not so much for this one. Can you see the error? It's right there. See how that wall disappears and reappears? And if I come over here, see, there's a big gap right there. Not every kit is going to bash together well. And in this particular case, it's fairly easy to solve. I would just have to maybe get an archway, or how I did it in my own quest is I took a bunch of rock pieces and put them through here to sort of make it look a little bit more natural, like as the cave really was sort of breached into from the crypt. So there's ways of fixing that, but you need to be aware when you kit bash or have different kits linking together that you could get that. Alright, moving on with our room tour here. And here we got a kit bash from Crypt to Dungeon, and as you can see as I look around this one, I can't really find any errors here. So this one lets me go in nice and smooth. Now this one over here, I've got this mysterious floating door here for just sort of showing a different type of door. This is a door that you can open interactively. Mainly useful for, say, inside human buildings. The crypt also has its own door set. It's a little bit more difficult to use properly. It would work well, say, for this doorway right here. It wouldn't work so well for the large doorways over there. But you can use these manually placed doors instead of the big doors. They're a little bit twitchier to work with. If you want to do special things like, you can't use the door until a certain condition has been met or things like that, you are better off using the cut doors than your own manually placed ones. And again, I've got a cut through here, and the kit bash goes together seamlessly again. And then, of course, we've got a doorway between two dungeon kits, so of course this one works quite nicely. Now, let's take a look to see how this is in the editor. Okay, a couple of things about placement first. Different kits have different placement rules. But you will notice on some pieces they will be perfectly smooth. Like, say, this dungeon piece right here. It's a perfectly smooth border around the room. That means that the doors, the auto-cut technology, can effectively place the door anywhere along this edge. So as you see here, I'm left-click and dragging, and I can place this room anywhere that I want along this edge, and it'll be perfectly fine and happy with me. Some rooms, however, like the Crypt series, have these little teeth marks in them. In order for these auto cuts to work properly, you have to line up the teeth marks. Now, in the case of lining up a smooth with teeth marks, it doesn't matter where you place the smooth, but you can still only place your door where the teeth marks are on the other side of the room. So, despite the fact that between these two pieces, I can put the cut door anywhere that I want, when I connect this dungeon piece to the crypt piece, the door can only go on the little teeth mark. Same if you've got doors, two rooms with teeth marks. Teeth marks must match. So as you can see here, they don't match. So when I put these rooms together, nothing happens. No cuts. Until I slide it over, until the teeth marks match up, now I can drag the room to where I want. Now, sometimes you want more than one entry to a room, like I have done here. I've got 1, 2, 3 doorways all going into this same room here. To do that, you go to Specials, and let me get that out of there. So you go to Specials, and you select Door. Now, this is not a door that you can just place anywhere in the room. As you can see, attempting to do so does nothing. Instead, what this is for, it's for dragging onto your rooms to place additional doorways. So I can see, I have a whole bunch of, doorways here. I can put doors everywhere if I wanted to. And it'll cheerfully let me. Now there is a door limit. You do have a 100 door limit, so be aware of that before you go too crazy on placing the doorways. Now, you can place fake doors as well, which is what this door right here is that has absolutely no interactivity. And I think I actually forgot to show that in the tour. But yeah, it was just a big door that you couldn't do anything with. And to do that, you drag in a doorway where you can't have a cut. Now, a fake door's pretty much good for one thing. You do have to set the attributes on it. A fake door is good for one thing and one thing only, for the most part, and that's a transition door. You pretty much can't set up anything else with them. So unless you're using it for a transition or a manually created portal maybe, that's pretty much all these fake doors are good for. Let's see here. Sometimes, keep in mind that just because most dungeon pieces are freeform for the door cuts doesn't mean all of them are. This is a piece from the dungeon, the boss room, upper boss room, kind of a cool piece. You notice it's got cuts, and the editor's not very good at conveying this, but this is a multi-level piece. So even though it looks like this here is perfectly smooth and should allow a door anywhere, when I put it down here, nothing. And again, nothing. Nothing. It won't cut through there. That's because this is on a different Z level. Unfortunately, we are stuck to having just simply one Z level for our rooms. So since this part up here is a different Z level, it will not connect. I would have to connect it here, ignoring the big red splotch there. So that would be valid, assuming that wasn't there. I could put it like this. You can have rooms perfectly bordering like this. I could even, oops, nope, that's not a valid cut point. And I could even, take another corridor and snug it up right there and, try and have multiple connections and all sorts of crazy stuff you can do with your connections. But you just got to pay attention to those teeth marks on the pieces that have them. Okay, so that is placement. Now let's take a look at some of the details. Let's take a look at the storyline door first. I used an unlock door objective. And now it's a little bit misleading in its name. You don't actually literally have to unlock the door. You just simply have to have the player go open the door. Whether or not it's actually locked is up to you. And to lock a door, what you do is you put in a required item. So I went into items, I created one, I gave it a picture of a key. It doesn't, remember, the picture's totally irrelevant. This can be whatever you want it to be. So I created the key. And then I set it up so that this interact requires an item the key. Now, if you're going to have keys in your dungeon and you're going to require the player to pick them up, I strongly recommend that you have the doors consume the keys, unless, of course, the key is going to open multiple doors. The key is going to open multiple doors. Great, let's stay in the inventory. But remember, all of your custom items take up valuable inventory space. So just be aware of that. Now, like I said, this is totally optional. If I take this off, it'll still work completely fine. Alright, going back here to the map, this is the door that only appears once a conversation has been triggered. I simply did that by toggling visibility. Now this is a little bit confusing, because in every other item in the game, just about, appears when means that until this condition is met, the item is not visible, period. You cannot see it, you can walk straight through it if it's a blocking boulder or something like that. That's not what it means for the cut doors. For the cut doors, the appear refers to when the doors are usable. So if you said appears when, the door will be visible but not usable until this condition has been met. So in this particular case, once you've talked to Mr. Ed, then the door is usable. Likewise, disappear does not mean the door disappears. What it means is the door is no longer usable. So if you set a disappear property, that just simply means, okay, door can't be used anymore. And of course, we have a plain door. Now, and all you do to set that is you just simply set a door property. And all doors will have a predefined selection of things that you can select. So we can see here, yeah, my door between the crypt and the dungeon, yeah, I get a universal wood door. If I come over here, if I have a doorway between a dungeon and a dungeon, I can choose to have the portcullis, so on, so forth. And let's see here. And over here we have our human interior door. Now, like I said, this one, the visibility works like it normally does. In other words, if you set, the appears when, apologies. If you have the appears when set, that means that's when the door appears. It's visible and usable and everything. And disappear means it's gone. So you've got to be aware of that. If you want to have doors with complicated logic on it, you are better off putting that logic on your cut doors rather than this one. Now, if you go into details and you type in doors, just door, you will get a wide variety of options. You've got to be careful here. Most of these are not usable. You need to read the description. So, an old barn door, I honestly don't know if this one's usable or not. But if we come here... here we go, the closed doors. This door cannot be opened. This door cannot be opened. These are decorative doors only. Now, why on earth would you want a decorative door? Well, you can still put logic on the decorative doors. So say I could take this closed door, drag it in here, and I could go into the editor, say maybe, and put it high up in the wall, and have steps slowly appear in order to lead me up to this door. And as part of the door's logic, I could say, okay, when you interact with the door, it gives you an item, or have maybe a portal or a transition up here on this door, something like that. So that's one reason why you would use a decorative door. That, or just simply decoration. Add a little bit more life to the level. Same thing on the human side of things. A lot of the human interior building doors will either say non-moving door, or will say like a bolt-on. Here we go. Here's a bolt-on, bolt-on. These will not animate. You can generally tell an animating door because it'll look very odd like this. You'll actually see two doors. It's open state and it's closed state. That generally is what cues you in onto the fact that, hey, this is a animating door. There's one other. The crypt has a good animating door on it as well. Here it is. Crypt door wooden. You can see here this is a animating door, you can, because of it's got its stop animation point. So the door will open and each side will swing out and then stop at each of these points here. And that pretty much covers doorways. There's a lot of fun things you can do with them. They're not all that difficult to manage, once you get a hang of the basics. And so just a quick recap, cuts. Can appear wherever you need them to appear. On certain sets, like on the dungeon sets, they can go wherever. On other sets, though, like the crypts, pretty much all of them have these little teeth marks. The teeth marks must align in order to put down a cut. If you want to add additional cuts, that is under Special and the Door. If you try to add a door to where there is no cut possible, it will become a fake door, which are pretty much only useful for map transitions and decoration. And sometimes when you kit bash or mix two different kits together, you can get problems in the doorway, like kit bashing the cave plus the crypt. You've got to fix those invisible walls that you end up with there. Otherwise, it's not going to look right. And hopefully this has helped you understand doors a little bit better. And so, until the next video.